Go.
Okay, good afternoon everyone. Thank you for staying this evening, and nice to see you here in this very atmospheric theatre this evening. Okay, so end of day one. Okay, so the inspection team have seen a real cross-section across the college, starting with 9 o'clock meeting with a cross-section of our learners that was very, very positive, and then out and about, as I'm sure you're aware, across the board today. So overall, the feedback this afternoon was very much, it's a mixed picture. We've seen some really, really good stuff. Phrases like great planning, good pace, really good developmental feedback, questioning that was directed, engaging, some really good checking of learning and understanding. We've seen some good attendance, and we've seen some really concerning attendance. They want to see more of the good stuff. And that's the message really that I need to give to you, and I need you to pass on to your teams. We need to ensure that what they're seeing tomorrow is really, really good. And that's easy to say. What do I mean by good? I mean engaging the learners. They've seen a lot today of really, really engaged learners in tutorials and in adults. But we need to ensure in every class they go into, those learners are engaged. We're still hearing in some sessions that learners are left to wait while other learners finish. Okay? And that means that everyone in the group is being taught to the same level, doing the same task. We need just to think about that in terms of if we've got an activity and if learners have finished that activity, what am I going to give those learners to do? And it can't be you just need to wait for the others to finish. Okay, so we need to close that gap across the board. They've seen today just over 30 lessons that we're aware of, and more than half of those have been with our observation team. Okay. Across the board, they've agreed with the judgments of the observation team. And I've said before, we need to see more of what's good, the engaging and the exciting. Checking of learning. They've seen some really, really good questioning. Some really good questioning to check learning. And they've seen questioning being used to really motivate learners. But in a few sessions, they've not seen that checking of learning being effective. Okay? So talk to your team, look at your planning, think about how you're checking the learning. How do you know that learning has taken place? Because there's been one or two sessions where they've come back and said, we're not sure learning took place in that class. Okay? So we need to eliminate that. Stretch and challenge I've talked about. Students shouldn't be waiting for others to finish. If we can just close that gap, we're moving absolutely to where we need to be. So if you're looking at your planning for the next couple of days and you know that some of your learners are going to finish that work earlier, make sure you've got that extension activity for them to move on to. Embedding of English and maths. So this is in vocational subjects. There's been a couple of really, really good examples. A plumbing example where measuring of pipe was being done really well and they were embedding the calculations around that. But on the whole, that's not been seen. There's not really been that focus in vocational classes on the embedding of English and maths. And that comes down to the really basic things of, if students are taking notes, are you checking the quality of those notes? Are you checking the spelling? So don't forget the really, really obvious things that will get us to a point where we are really embedding the English and maths in those vocational classes. Some issues in terms of LSAs. We've seen some really, really good practice where LSAs are really effectively supporting teaching and learning that's going on. There's been one or two sessions where the LSA and the lecturer don't appear to have planned what's going on. And we've heard one example where the LSA didn't understand the activity and therefore couldn't support the learners. So if you've got an LSA in your classroom, please take that 5 minutes just to confirm what the LSA's role is in that class, please, so we can close that gap. So the overall verdict today is it's a mixed picture. We've seen some really, really good stuff, and then we've seen some stuff that is not as good and is a concern. Okay, so we need to ensure there's less things that will be considered a concern seen tomorrow, and they're being very open in terms of what they're going to do tomorrow. Okay, so it's a very open process. They're going to be looking at English and maths. They're going to be going into English and maths discrete classes, GCSE, functional skills, and they're looking at embedding of English and maths in vocational. Okay, clear steer, that's going to be one of the key things they're looking at tomorrow. And they're looking across the board for that teaching, learning and assessment to be more inspiring, or to see more inspiring teaching, learning and assessment, and that leading to motivated learners. They've seen lots of that today, but there have been some pockets where it's not been as good as it could be. We need to make sure that's happening across the board. They've seen mixed attendance. We've seen some really, really good attendance, and we've seen some attendance that's been low. Okay? Their judgment on that tomorrow is the low attendance impacting on the student's ability to pass? Now, that's a fair judgment for them to make, but that means we need to be clear, yes, although Billy has not been in class for 3 weeks, he's completed these 3 bits of work remotely, and I know he's on track to pass because he's currently at a merit for these 4 units. That way we can counter that argument about attendance if we know why learners aren't there and we know we've got a plan to catch up. So the study programme inspectors tomorrow particularly focused on that. ILT, they've not seen a lot of use of ILT, okay? So they're going to be exploring that tomorrow in terms of use of ILT. English and Maths embedded, as I've said, the whole English and Maths theme is there. They're going to be going out to look at workshop teaching as well as classroom teaching. They felt today they've seen a lot of classroom teaching. They're going to expand that today to workshops and practical areas a little bit more. Adult learning, again, similar themes really. They're looking at the English and Maths development of our adult learners. And again, it's been a real mixed picture with adults. They've seen some exceptional practice, really, really good practice. And then they've seen some adult learners taking notes that were of a really poor quality. There was no plan for what those notes were going to be used for, and the English wasn't being checked. Adult inspector, particularly keen on the promotion of E&D, going to be following that through, and the standards of learner work is going to, I think, become a theme over tomorrow once they've dealt with those earlier themes. In terms of apprenticeships, they're going to be exploring the subcontracting arrangement tomorrow. They've had a telephone conversation today with Pentland, who is our subcontractor. They're going to be checking the quality checks that we have for those subcontracted. They've got a question around the guided learning hours of subcontracted learners. They want to look at assessments taking place live tomorrow. Okay, so they've had conversations today with the apprenticeships. They've looked at the folders. They want to see live assessments tomorrow. And again, following through, are we developing the English and math skills of our apprentices? That's going to be the focus of our apprentice inspector tomorrow. The high needs inspector is looking for evidence of the transitional arrangements with schools. So she's going to be following that through tomorrow in terms of the relationship we have with the schools that our high needs learners come from, and is that transition well planned and appropriate. Again, looking for more stretch and challenging classes and not have students waiting. Can you see that theme there? It's there in study programmes, it's there in adults, apprentices and high needs. This theme of, you know, learners being left to wait. Please, please, that's, you know, if you only take one thing away, make sure you've got an extension activity for people that have finished. They're going to be exploring the plans for work experience for PLW. They're looking for that to be a robust plan that's going to happen. They're going to follow up the music enrichment that they think is a positive strength. They're looking for joined up learner support. They've raised some concerns about the feedback to PLW learners being too much, well done, you clearly enjoyed doing that, which is fine, but then it needs to have the follow-on to that, which is to improve, you need to. So they're going to be following that through. And particularly tomorrow, she's going to be looking at high needs learners that are in vocational areas. So she's asked for a set of the timetables for all of the high needs learners that are in-field across the college. Because remember, we have about half in discrete in PLW, half across the college. PDBW, Personal Development, Behaviour and Welfare. Again, it's a mixed picture, and that really is the theme. Eamon's going to be looking at more tutorials. What he's seen today in tutorials has come out very positively. He's seen some good tutorial activities and some good attendance at tutorials, which is really good to hear. He's been in a tutorial where the scheme of work wasn't being used, which in itself isn't a problem, but his question is, if they're not following the scheme of work, how do those key things in the scheme of work happen for that group of learners? Okay, so it was a brickwork class where the tutorial wasn't happening as a tutorial, and it was a performing arts class where the tutorial wasn't happening completely as a tutorial. We need to make sure we've got the evidence that, okay, we've gone slightly off of the standard scheme of work, but this group of learners have covered British Values e-safety in this way. Okay, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. We just need to make sure we've got the evidence to back that up. They want to see the work experience plan for the whole college, and that's work-related activity as well as work experience. He's going to be following through on staff development. He's a little bit obsessed with student induction, particularly in hair and beauty, and I'm not sure why, but Sean's got some particular actions that we need to do to show what's happened there. And he's going to be looking at success of additional qualifications, so where students take additional qualifications, and I know there's some in business and there's some enrichment additional qualifications. Are students successful on those? So he's going to be following that through, and he's going to be looking at the risk assessments in vocational workshops. So if you are a manager of an area which has a workshop, before you go home tonight, you just do a walkthrough and just check there's a risk assessment for each of the activities that learners undertake. Okay, just to be clear on that. TLA, again, it's a mixed picture. As I've said before, that's the theme. They've made it very clear they're going to look at all levels and all subjects. And I think, as we've seen today, probably the fairest spread of subject areas and levels that has been seen. And certainly we haven't had that narrow focus that we've suffered from in the past with the inspection team. Again, looking for more stretch and challenge, more differentiation, and looking for that checking of learning. They're the key things that he's going to be looking out for tomorrow on TLA. Leadership and management, key focus here on is the financial situation affecting quality, and going down an exploration of the staff turnover in teaching areas. What's the impact of that? What's the story behind that? So Jack and Sarah have got data to show that. And where they come across 14 to 16 learners, they're going to be checking that the processes that they think are fit for purpose are being used, and therefore those 14 to 16 learners are safeguarded. So if you've got 14 to 16 inbuilt into your subject areas, they're not looking at 14 to 16 per se, but when they come across them, they'll be checking that we are following our own processes, and those learners are safeguarded. So it really is a mixed picture. It really is a mixed picture. The good is really, really good, but there are some concerns, and too many concerns probably have been seen today to say it's looking like A. Okay? So tomorrow we've got to see, or they've got to see more of the good, and that's really the message that I want to give you. We have it all to play for. We've probably made the best start we could have hoped for out of this process. Okay? It was really, really positive to be sitting there this afternoon and hearing all that good stuff coming back from across the board. It was really positive to feel that it's a level playing field, and as we know, we haven't always felt that with this process in the class. It's never nice to hear the concerns, but we can address those concerns, and they're very, very simple concerns, and we can counter those tomorrow. So key message is, we've had a great start, it's all to play for, and let's show them more of the best there is, because we know there's some great stuff they still haven't seen, okay? And we're in a great position to deliver what we need to deliver. There will be some specific actions for specific managers, and directors will be feeding those back, so we're actually coming in and countering some of those key things first thing in the morning. But tomorrow will be a full day of observations. We've got the whole team. There's not that many meetings going on tomorrow, so the whole team will be out either with our observation team and also by themselves as well. So do give that message to your teams, please. It's been a mixed picture, it's all to play for, but if we deal with that stretch and challenge, and We make sure we haven't got learners that aren't engaged and that we haven't got any learners that are left waiting. Okay? We're embedding that English and maths, we can get to where we need to be. Okay? So thank you to everyone for your support today. I know various people have been called in to do various things they hadn't planned to be doing. I really appreciate that. And all to play for tomorrow. So please do get some rest, but please check your planning, check the planning of your teams this afternoon. So
thank you. I don't think I have much more to add. I think two key messages. One is deliver inspiring, engaging, exciting, stretch and challenge, differentiated lessons, and make sure that they will be going, you saw, in all provision types, they are looking at maths and English. So if you are teaching maths and English, if you are teaching vocational programs, that you can embed maths and English, it has to be of good quality. So support is available. The learning and coaches team are to hand. Please make use of the resources that are available. If you want to have your lessons checked to see if you have that additional stretch activity, if you want some sort of a support to get your lessons to be a little bit more enjoyable and exciting, support is to hand. So great start. We have had a whole year of them coming and saying we haven't seen good teaching, learning and assessment. And today they have come in and they have seen some real good planning, good pace, good activities going on, students enjoying. They want to see more of that. And what I sensed from the conversation that we had with them is that they are going out there in full force and they want to see the evidence to back up their judgment. So if we show them, and some of the activities they want to be directed to, they specifically have asked, show me good maths and English lessons. Show me where vocational programs are embedding maths and English. I cannot emphasize enough how important maths and English is, because that's a national problem and they want to see that we are doing it well. So all to play for, as Phil said. First day, half day of observation of half the team. They have seen 30 lessons. Tomorrow they will be in full force, all of them out there. Again, half a day because we don't have afternoon teaching going on. But they will see far more tomorrow, and then a full day observation on Thursday. So if your staff are teaching, or if yourself are teaching tomorrow or on Thursday, also on Friday morning, make sure that you make use of the support that is available. There is all to play for. I am pleased with what we have achieved today. I think it's a very good start. I want you to feel motivated as a result of that and keep going. So very well done. As we said, drink a lot, sleep a lot, eat properly, and I want you all bushy-tailed and whatever else it is first thing tomorrow morning. Bright-eyed, that is it. Okay. Thank you so much. Take care.